Hello everybody. Today we're going to be discussing squares. We have different options here, referred to as speed squares, something that you'll find in a production capacity. If you're cutting a lot of very square or 45-degree angles, you'll be using these squares. The benefits of these types of squares is they'll typically come with a table to allow for better cutting for roof rafters or for all sorts of other forms of angles. It makes it very quick and very easy when it comes down to actually cutting. And because of its edge, typically the line that you're going to be drawing will be able to be snapped onto the edge of a piece very quickly. It means that when you're drawing a line, you can draw it very flat and very close to the surface without any wobble. It is a very speedy way. It is a very accessible way of drawing a line. It is a very important tool, but not the only tool when it comes to a square. There are other ones, very older form of square, that not a lot of people use outside of the professional carpenters for very fine finishes, and it's typically because they want something that can be very articulated, changed, moved around, and edited. So typically this little knob that's right here can allow you to adjust for your heights, and you can scribe across the bottom edge down here. That also being said, it's easy because you can turn it around, move it around to other edges, and go from there. And I've already made a mistake on it. I don't use these types of squares very often anymore, but they can be very finicky, and the little knob that's on the inside here can be adjusted as well too. If you unscrew it fully, you can also turn this section here and allow yourself to utilize it as such. But because it can be so finicky, not a lot of people enjoy using this as a tool for a square. There are better options that are out there. Okay. So for instance, I've just changed this over. It's not the most beneficial tool in my regards, because most of the time I need something that can be very quick and very easy, and most of the things that this thing can do, I have other tools that do it better. But when it comes down to it, still a fun tool. When it comes down to a regular square that I use all the time, because it's compact and very easy to put into a tool belt or just keep within a tool chest, is this other regular framer square that I use all the time. Again too, it does relatively the same job as a speed square, but allows just for a little bit more compactness in comparison. As you can tell, it doesn't weigh the same anywhere near. It's not as thick and a little bit more diverse. When it comes down to a regular homeowner or somebody else who may want to simply just use this tool on the day and day, it might not even be something that you want to even keep around the house when it comes down to it. But understanding that you can get them in even aluminum, such as this one, which allows for a little bit more of a lighter hand holding for it. If you're going to use it on checking for square around the house, checking for finishes of other people's work or anything like that, then absolutely it is something that you may want to keep around for that. Will most people need it? No. Will you want this if you are going to be cutting stair treads or anything else like this? Absolutely. This kind of square is, in all honesty, one of the best when it comes down to it. For instance, with this specific square, you can use these little tools, which will actually act as a stopper. They clip on, get tightened down, and they allow you to set the square to do rapid measurements and layout for the exact same thing over and over again. Since I don't think I have a lot of space for it against the wall, it's just enough there. So this allows you to move the square at the exact same points that you've laid out. So if you wanted to, you could cut this in multiple different positions or on multiple different faces of a workpiece, such as doing stair treads even. Very simple, very useful tool. Now the basis of square, understanding when something is square, comes down to a simple mathematic equation called the Pythagorean theorem. It is the essence of 3, 4, and 5 being utilized for simple math. So for instance, if I were to measure off of, I don't know if I can even see the angle. There. So if I were to check for 3, 4, 5 here, 3 divisible by 3 would be 6 or 9 in this case. And I'm going to go with 9 only because I want you to be able to see what the sample means. This is 9 inches. Now, divisible by 4, so this is 3. We're going by 4, would be 12. So because this is 12, we can check if this is square, which I believe the last time I worked with it, it was. This is now 15 at this point. Not that it's easily seen with my hand in the way, but you can tell right now that 15 on the measuring tape is right there. So that would be 3 times 5 equals 15. 4 times 3 equals 12. 3 times 3 equals 9. 3, 4,